Hello, it's Katie again. I wanted to show you today how I color with my ZIG Clean Color Real Brush. I really like using these. I probably use Copics more often, but this one's a little bit more of a process, and I'll tell you why. But I really like them. I only have the set of the 24, but they're just, it's almost like therapeutic. It's hard to describe, but I really like coloring with these and with little brushes, paint brushes, and paint. So this one, or these brushes, I guess, when I heard about them, I was told to get the Bristol paper. I don't know that it's not watercolor paper. It doesn't feel like watercolor paper, but it's good for this. So I bought 4 pads of it right away, of course. So I will link those down below because it comes in a bigger pad. I just cut up a little smaller to keep it in here. And then also told to use the VersaFine ink so that the ink doesn't bleed when you color with the water. And but I did notice that when I was doing that, if I rested my hand at all, I would have to be super careful coloring around it if I wanted to use this, because this would smear. So if I accidentally rested my wrist on it or something, it would pick it up and move it around and smear the image. And sometimes it just wasn't possible not to do that. I don't know why. But then I think I put it in my Instagram stories because I was just frustrated, and somebody suggested that I emboss it with clear, just pour clear on the wet ink and then emboss it. And I didn't love the solution because I didn't necessarily want it embossed or raised, but it doesn't really matter to me, and if I really don't want to, I'll just have to be super careful and then let it dry forever before I even bother cutting something out, maybe. But I had even tried drying the ink with my heat gun, and that didn't work either. It still smeared after that because I tested one. So what we'll do is I will stamp these, and then I'll emboss them with clear, and then I'll show you how I use them. I do have a water brush, and I've had another one too. It's just too watery. If you have had that problem and you have other ones that aren't as watery, let me know. But honestly, I think I like, part of it is because I got these little brushes. They're in my drawers that are holding you up. Hopefully I'm not shaking you. I got these little brushes. It was just a cheap set of little paint brushes from Michael's. I think I got the whole pack for like $5. I think there's one more in there, but there's a bunch of other stuff in the drawer. So I use these. I have some water, and that's on top of a paper towel over here. And so I actually use these, and it's almost more fun than just using like a water brush pen. Plus those have too much water coming out of them for me anyway. So I will take a sheet of this. I already have that out here. And then just as if I'm going to normally emboss, I should use the embossing bag that I have to prep it, the area. So we'll just do this area here. It works great. I've had that bag. A lot of people have that little brush filled with this stuff, but the bag just works better for me, and that's what I bought forever ago. So I do that, and then I brush it off. So we will do the little chocolate bar, the broom, and the pumpkin bucket. I'm using Costume Party by Lawn Fun because I saw a lot of cute colors I could do in the dinosaur and the unicorn and the little witch. So not necessarily because it is Halloween, and I love Halloween, but these were on my desk right in front of me, so I thought those would look really cute. So we will stamp these guys. I will clean them later. Make sure we get those 2 down. And then I'll be embossing them with the clear, and then I'll cut them out with their dies that I have on the back. So I have a piece of printer paper. This is how I emboss normally as well. I have printer paper under, and then I just have this little food container bucket that I dumped my clear into. I think I had a couple containers of it, or 3, so I just combined them. So I pour it on. I'll pour a lot of it on and then tap it off. That broom could use a little more. You just want to cover all the dark black that's showing through. Sometimes I'll tap it from the back. Okay, so we'll set that aside for a second. Take all of this, dump it back in, and then we can put that away. Make sure I get all the powder off of here before I melt it to the pad. Okay. So then we will melt this down. I'll plug myself in. I usually let the gun heat up a little bit and then I'll aim it out there just so it's as hot as it needs to be. And then this one's really easy. You can just see when it turns dark black and it's all melted. Got the unicorn. And I usually just blow over them lightly again at the end. And then we have our little guys. So I will cut out this section and set that aside for another time. Okay, and then I have my markers. I'll set these guys aside. Okay. So I'll zoom in a little bit for the coloring. Make sure I leave those in the middle. So I think for the unicorn, I want some like pink and blue. The dinosaur will do, there's 2 greens that look very similar. One of them is called deep green and one of them is just called green. So I'm gonna go with that one and this one for the dinosaur. And we will get some purple in the witch's hat and maybe even in her dress. I think I want to do a purple. Maybe we'll do a green strip there, and then we'll figure out like hair and skin colors and stuff along the way. We've got plenty of options for skin colors and hair as well. Got some blondes, oranges, so that's a lot of markers to take out, but we will go through it. Okay, so what I do, I just pick the size of my brush based on kind of where I have to paint. So I'll probably pick the smallest one for like the hair on the unicorn. And then all I do, and I actually just saw a video this morning because I was looking at the ZIG Clean Color Markers hashtag on Instagram. And somebody had a video and they do this very similar to the way I do it, and I thought maybe I was just weird and not doing it very well, to be honest. But they color the exact same as me. So I just do a little bit in there. And then I'll take the water. The water's not in the view, but all I do is I'll dip it in here, and then I like set it on the paper towel so I don't have too much water on the brush. I'll let it kind of drain out a little bit, and then I have enough in my brush. So then I just kind of spread what's there, and it looks great to me. It just kind of takes the marker that you put down and spreads it out and makes it a little bit lighter, and I think it works great. And so what I'll do is if I want to mix some colors, like on the dinosaur, I'm going to do the darker green and then the lighter. I'll just lay down all of the colors and then paint all at the same time as well. So for the pink on the unicorn, I'll lay down some pink. This one's pretty bright. and goes pretty far. Clean my brush off, get some water and dab it on the paper towel, and then just kind of drag the color out. And embossing it also really honestly helps you stay within the lines too. This is probably the one marker that's so deep and bright in this pack that when you spread it out, it's almost the same color as whatever you laid down. So you want to go really light on that one. It's the bright pink. It's called pink. It's number 25. I'm sure there's a wide range of numbers and colors. I don't know how many ZIG markers there are total, but this 24 pack has been fine for me, so I think that's a great starter collection. I'll do blue and some pink, which kind of bled into the blue, and you can also kind of dilute that as well. And we'll do some purple for that third. These kind of mix a little bit, but then if you get some marker over it, it might just turn out a little purple. Clean my brush in between. Get the pink. And then the purple. Okay. So, I think this one, yeah, so we'll do, this isn't a very cute skin color, maybe I'll try and blend it with a little bit of that as well, and then blend it out. It's a little better. Okay, so then for the unicorn, there's a gray. I could leave it white or maybe do some gray. I'm not quite sure, but I can put a dab of pink in the ears. There's also a light pink in this set too, but it's pretty light. This one's called light pink, number 26. That could go in the ears as well. So I'll leave that one for now. I'm not quite sure how I'll finish that one, but we'll take a look at the dinosaur. So I'll put a little bit of the dark green in his little spikes there, and then along the edges and in the corners, maybe under here, and then take the lighter green and just kind of blend it, honestly, like you're blending Copics, and just make sure you have enough marker to spread around with the coloring. And they will blend if you just color them over each other too, which also looks really cool. But that should be enough. And then I'll go one size up on the brush. I think there's a size in between, but this should be fine. So then we'll just take that and mix it as we blend it out. And it ends up with a really cool blended green. Just want to make sure it's really just blending kind of like I've blended Copics in the past. Take that lighter color, you're considering the water your lightest color probably, and grab your two other colors and blend them out. Make sure we get his little spikes. Get a little more water. And just make sure it looks blended enough and gets filled in. And that we don't leave any non-blended water spots. And then we want to go out there, so put a drop of that in there to spread around. And then we're good to go for the dinosaur. And then I'll do the outfit on the witch, and then maybe color the pumpkin or one of these for you, and then we'll get these guys cut out. Or really, this video is to show you coloring, so maybe I'll show you more of the coloring, and I'm not even sure if I'll get a card put together for these guys, but that's okay. So we'll do some of the darker purple, which is called Violet, that's number 80, and then I have Light Violet, number 81. This kit seems to have blended colors pretty close in number to each other, or paired up colors next to each other. Okay. Put some water, and then just start blending. You can do this with one color, so you can just use the dark purple, for example, or if you only have one purple. I'm not sure how small these marker kits come, but if you only have one purple, you know, just do the edges, and then you can highlight areas you want and then drag it towards the middle, and it still looks like two shades that you've blended. And it just gives it a different, interesting look than Copic coloring does, for example. A very watercolored look without using actual watercolors. And then sometimes if it gets a little too wet on your brush, just dab it off on a paper towel and then go back to coloring. Okay. Then I'll do let's do light green in the middle. I'll spread that around. And there is I think a black, not quite sure. Yeah, number 10 is black. So we've got her shoes covered. And then, let's see. I'm not quite sure what color a unicorn's horn is supposed to be. But, I don't know. I might look into that first. And then, for the pumpkin, we have, well, no, that's red. I do have a darker orange than this. So there's number 70 orange, number 52 bright yellow, and then below that is number 50 yellow. So I think I'll do a little bit of the orange, and then just mix in some bright yellow, and then I'll paint in the rest to blend it. And the inside can be a little lighter. Okay. And then if you see stuff like this corner here is a little light, you can just go back and keep reblending. You can always add more marker. So if I wanted to put a dab of darker purple in the middle and spread that out to fill that light corner, you can do that too. For the chocolate bar, we'll do that on the ends. And then, let's see. There is a darker brown actually, so we'll do lighter in the middle. And then I have number 62 dark brown, so I'll actually put that on the edges instead. And then we'll go back to our little paintbrush, the smallest one I have. Blend the ends out there, wash that off, and then just blend what I put in the middle here, so we can still read the words on it. And the only other thing I notice about when you use the clear embossing powder to seal it, really, just to seal the ink. There might be a speck here and there that did dry, so you'll have like a white dot. I don't know if you can see that right next to the bottom of the eye that you can't color in because it did a clear emboss seal over it, but it's fine. Let's try and bleed that green out. And then I think we'll just leave the teeth white for the dinosaur. And then I will do probably brown hair, so we can mix these browns one more time on the girl. So we'll do dark brown and then the brown color, which is very reddish compared to the dark brown. And then I think just fill that in a little bit. So then I can just take the little brush and kind of blend that out. And it makes a hair look really cool too, depending on the colors you use. And if you go out of the lines, I'm going to die cut these guys out anyway, but if you go out of the lines, you can just get your brush, clean it off and get it wet, and then just kind of bleed it out, and it will usually go away on the edges enough. And then we'll make her a little pale witch. And sometimes you can color with these and you don't have to do any blending at all. Just a little hair there. If the marker is light enough, you can just use all marker if you want. And I think it's buildable, so you can make it darker if you wanted to go over her a third time. They're just fine to use without water. I think I will make her legs green and just call them tights. And then here, it's such a small area, again, you don't have to use water to blend it out. You can just color it in. And then we will do, let's see, maybe some of this, and then mostly yellow. So we'll blend that out, and then the broom handle can be brown, and I'll just blend that down to look a little more watercolory. And then I can use the bigger brush and we'll blend out the broom. And I'll just take a lighter brown and color this in without any blending. Okay, so let's see. I think I'm going to put shoes, black shoes on this guy, and we'll blend those out like the witch's shoes. Just so they're not so dark. And then let's see. I'll probably end up making a card with these guys. I won't do it right now, but if you want to, you can head over to my Instagram and follow me there. It is Hook, Line, and Inker all together. And I'll eventually post a card with these guys. I think I'm going to look up unicorns and see what coloring I can do for that. But hopefully that was helpful in your adventures in ZIG clean color markers. And if you don't have them, hopefully you want to try them. They are a little expensive. I can't remember what I paid for these ones. I think I got these off Amazon, so I can link that down below. I'll link the paper down below. If I can find the VersaFine ink, I'll find it somewhere. I'll link this down below. Clear embossing powder. You don't need the Versamark clear ink pad because you're just going to put clear embossing powder onto what you stamp with this. So I will link everything down below that you would need to get started with this, and hopefully that was helpful. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.